Sadly, the craft of quietness has been lost in our bustling existence, where commotion, furthermore, talk are dependably present. Yet consider the possibility that the times we decide not to talk were similarly as how frequently do we pause and ponder what our tranquil means. Apathy is an old hypothesis that shows individuals how to control themselves through reason and profound strength. It's an extraordinary approach to realize when to speak. Zeno, the organizer behind aloofness, said it's smarter to trip with the feet than with the tongue. This wise expressing raises an essential inquiry. How often have we genuinely regretted expressing something in a rush? Or bitterly, emotionlessness doesn't simply instruct us to avoid things we deserve to involve quietness as a device for development and harmony. Envision confronting life's difficulties with the quiet, certainty that your quiet talks, stronger than any words might at any point expect to emotionless way of thinking, instructs that quietness isn't simply the shortfall of discourse. However, a profoundly felt reaction that has been painstakingly picked a functioning, strong power, an arrangement can assist with facilitating conflicts, secure us from damage, and assist us with seeing, however, when precisely would it be a good idea for us. We embrace quiet together. We'll figure out in 9 key times that picking quiet isn't savvy as well as extraordinary as we go further into these examples. Contemplate how rehearsing emotionless quiet may alter the manner in which you manage others and your own genuine serenity. Consider the possibility that you would be able to end a warmed battle with a quiet, estimated quietness rather than brutal words. What might a peaceful respite assist you with saying regarding your sentiments and contemplations accompany us as we uncover major areas of strength for thee to quiet down and let the information on apathy guide us? Are you prepared to get more familiar with the profound information on aloofness? If it's not too much trouble, leave a word before you start your process number 1, while being condemned unreasonably. Condemned unreasonably as per the apathetic way of thinking, being unjustifiably scrutinized is an exceptional opportunity to become more grounded and show honesty. The principal thoughts behind this old information. The ruler Marcus Aurelius once said that if something beyond you annoys you, not the actual thing stinging you, yet your opinion on it. He additionally said that you can change your opinion on something whenever. Understanding says that what annoys us about analysis isn't the actual analysis, yet the way that we see and answer it. Contemplate this. How should changing how you see analysis make you more grounded? Could you at any point consider while remaining even-tempered? Despite unreasonable analysis, change the result for model on the off chance that you are driving a task at work and your manager scrutinizes it. Cruelly, an indifferent reaction is tranquilly. Check out at the input and track down helpful experiences while disregarding any regrettable data that did not depend on realities. Epicus said that this approach to doing things won't just keep your tranquility, yet it will likewise keep your expert. Honor. Don't talk about your hypothesis. Live it here to live by theory. You need to answer with quiet, thoroughly examined reactions rather than protective ones. You ought to let the nature of your reactions, and at last your work, justify itself. Not answering when unreasonably censured isn't simply an inactive demonstration. It's a key one to embrace apathy's call to zero in on what we have some control over our reactions and perspectives. This calm strength transforms conceivable clash into an indication of your individual strength and philosophical commitment as you face life's challenges. Ponder how quietness can help you. What chances could come up if you pick smart, quiet over imprudent discourse? How should this training work on your own inner harmony, as well as affect people around you by consolidating indifferent standards into our regular routines, particularly when we are unreasonably scrutinized? We adjust ourselves with a way of thinking that esteems the strength of character over the brief endorsement of others. This advances self-awareness and rouses others to do the equivalent, particularly in the present existence where bragging and self-advancement frequently muffle lowliness. Apathy advises us to embrace quietness. And the astute Marcus Aurelius says, "Don't sit around idly quarreling over what a decent man ought to be one in this light. Think about how quiet in light of brags can turn a possibly self-image-powered climate into a position of self-reflection and development. There will constantly be analysis throughout everyday life, and it can frequently be an effective method for learning and improving. Yet analysis is a little unreasonable, even 100% of the time, at the point when it's intended to hurt somebody. In these sorts of situations, it tends to be difficult to remain cool-headed and act in the correct way. Emotionlessness, a hypothesis that started in old Greece, has immortal exhortation on the most proficient method to deal with discourteous analysis with class and elegance. By following apathetic thoughts, we can transform awful things that happen to us into opportunities to develop as individuals and become more grounded inside hello. What is important isn't what befalls you, yet how you respond to it. This is the emotionless guideline. Epicus, what happened? Pause for a minute to figure about what to say. When somebody scrutinizes you unreasonably, this holds you back from following up without really thinking and gives you time to contemplate what's happening without moving. Upset, remove the analysis from yourself. As the indifferent said, you control your psyche, not occasions beyond. It know this, and you will areas of strength. For B. Aurelius, do this figure out. That unreasonable input just shows how the analyst feels or what they think, not how great you are or what you can do. You can see the analysis all the more plainly on the off chance that you separate it from your identity. As the indifferent said, if anybody can demonstrate and show me that I think and act in mistake, I will happily transform it. For I look for reality, Marcus Aurelius. Do this, there might be a modest quantity of truth in even the most unreasonable judgment. Search for any supportive criticism that is concealed in the shamefulness. Take this as a risk to work on yourself and dispose of the negative contemplations that aren't required. As the emotionless saying goes, first, become familiar with the importance of what you say, and afterward, talk epic. 'Tis what happened when somebody condemns you unjustifiably. Stay cool and respectful. This not just shows how solid and in control you are, nevertheless, it likewise holds things back from deteriorating. A quiet response frequently quiets down the commentator and shows that you are a grown-up. Deal with your own development. Don't sit around idly quarreling over what a decent man ought to be, says the apathetic. B1 said Marcus Aurelius. Activity, quit zeroing in on uncalled for analysis and direct your concentration toward your objectives and individual improvement. You can transcend the terrible things that occur and continue to push ahead on your street. By zeroing in on your own development and ideals, it tends to be difficult to manage unjustifiable analysis, yet assuming that you follow indifferent standards. You can transform these circumstances into opportunities to develop and turn out to be further. Make sure to pause for a minute to think, separate the analysis from your own worth. Search for any fragment of truth. Answer with cool and regard, and keep your consideration on your own development. In this manner, you satisfy the apathetic ideal of keeping composed areas of strength for and in any event when things are hard external. Number 2, emotionless quietness in brags, emotionless quietness in gloats. Envision you're at a systems administration occasion where a collaborator is boasting as well, much about their new raises and extravagant way of life. You should counter their swagger with your own achievements. Emotionlessness shows us the force of limitation in the event that you pick calm, You keep your cool and let others' words show you who they are. This way, you can save your energy for more profound discussions. This technique safeguards your distinction, as well as makes you appear as though somebody who makes certain of their own accomplishments and doesn't require outside endorsement. In this hypothesis, quietness is certainly not an indication of latency. Rather, it is a sign of key quietness that shows information and certainty. Another shrewd apathetic says he who doesn't wish to be dwarfed by more prominent advantages shouldn't return one advantage with another. He ought to return numerous immediately. In actuality, this implies that you shouldn't answer vacant brags with words. Yet with the peaceful elegance of your activities and the nature of your personality, how frequently do you find yourself answering another person's prosperity, success story with one of your own? What could occur in the event that you, all things considered, decided to listen completely, recognizing their achievements with a gesture or a grin, while keeping your consideration on your own temperances and objectives? Tolerating emotionless calm and gloats is a lifestyle choice, a day-to-day existence not set apart by contest, but rather by satisfaction and internal achievement. It makes an environment where one can flourish calmly and effectively, founded on veritable self-esteem worth, instead of similar measures, if it's not too much trouble. Contemplate this example and use what you've realized in your day-to-day routine. How should tolerating calm make your life also? Connections better? Kindly expound on your thoughts and stories in the space beneath. How about we cooperate to make each other's lives more quiet, blissful? Number 3, while managing outrage. Furthermore, fruitful number 3, while managing outrage when we're irate, it can feel like a wild tempest that can clear away all explanation and quiet. Yet in the center of this tempest, emotionless way of thinking offers a safe spot to be a snapshot of quietness that assists us with managing areas of strength for these sentiments. Epicurus, a popular, emotionless figure, said to keep calm more often than not, and possibly talk when you need to. Now envision a day at work when a collaborator's error causes you long periods of additional work. Your most memorable nature may be to blow up in outrage. Yet what might occur in the event that you picked quiet, rather by not responding? Out of frustration, you give yourself an opportunity to ponder what is going on. More unbiasedly, this respite can stop the struggle from deteriorating and lead to valuable arrangements, rather than warmed contentions. Consider it: how frequently has responding rapidly, out of frustration, made you think about what could be unique in the event that you brought a second to quiet down prior to speaking? Marcus Aurelius, another notable emotionless, offers guidance in his works. How much more awful are the outcomes of outrage than the things that drive individuals mad? This thought makes us think about what occurs after we lash out. More often than not, the impacts of an irate explosion are more awful than what drove us crazy. In any case, think about Nelson Mandela, a renowned pioneer who, despite the fact that he had been imprisoned for a really long time, chosen to pardon his victimizers as opposed to blowing up this choice superior, his own life, as well as driven a country to compromise. For instance, utilizing quiet at the point when you're irate doesn't mean concealing your sentiments. It implies picking a reaction that is in accordance with your best self. This training works on your own tranquility, as well as prompts better connections and a more fruitful life, as you manage the unavoidable dissatisfactions of day-to-day existence. Recall that quietness can be your safe haven, a spot where shrewdness rules. Embrace it. And you might observe that the tranquil reaction isn't just the most significant, yet in addition, the most remarkable resentment is an ordinary inclination that everybody has at some point in their lives. Then again, outrage that isn't taken care of can hurt connections and your own well-being. Apathy helps valuable ways of controlling outrage by zeroing in on poise, clear thought, and internal harmony. Sort out the make, take a gander at your triggers. Sort out what precisely drives you mad. Is it an individual, a setting, or a specific occasion? Self-reflection. Contemplate why these things truly set you off. Our suspicions and thoughts regarding things frequently assume a major part. Acknowledgement. Know that you can't change the things that occur in the rest of the world. What you can change is the means by which you respond to these things. Work on being careful. Keep your brain on right now as opposed to zeroing in on past issues or stresses over what's in store. Practices for profound breathing when you feel furious. Would practices for profound breathing to quiet your care and body delay. And think before you answer. Pause and contemplate what will occur if you accomplish something. Change your perspective. Attempt to see things from the other individual's perspective to show sympathy. Seeing things according to their perspective can help you feel less furious impact. As far as you can tell, think about how an indifferent logician would see things. Would they think it was irrelevant or significant? Spotlight on arrangements, as opposed to harping on the main thing in need of attention. Consider helpful ways of dealing with it. Develop profound fortitude. Learn to control yourself. Advise yourself that you can pick how to respond. Use poise and persistence. Profound. Separation. Figure out how to separate your sentiments based on what's happening. Make a stride back and take a gander at it. Impartially, rather than by and by get more grounded inside. Do things that assist you with managing your feelings, like working out, writing in a book, or contemplating. Utilize your outrage in a sound manner. Decidedly, channel your energy as opposed to being irate. Focused on things that will assist you with enjoying working out or causing craftsmanship to learn and develop. Utilize your indignation as an opportunity to find out about yourself and change how you answer in the future. How to impart well discussion about how you feel in a cool and sure way without being unfriendly or furious. Dealing with your displeasure well is significant for your well-being and the soundness of your connections. You can transform outrage into a decent power by getting to the lower part of it. Rehearsing care, changing your perspective, structure, mental strength, and tracking down solid ways of utilizing your displeasure. Heed the guidance of emotionlessness to discover a genuine sense of harmony and carry on with a sound, tranquil life. Number four. Quiet in the midst of unwarranted reports. Quiet in the center of misleading bits of hearsay. When individuals converse with one another, stories resemble leaves trapped in a whirlwind. When these tales aren't correct, they can create mischief and turmoil. Emotionless reasoning offers us a solid response. Calm, contemplate the narrative of an educator in a modest community who was wrongly blamed for unfortunate behavior as bits of hearsay spread through the local area. The instructor decided not to add to the intensity by denying or making sense of what occurred. Rather, she depended on her trustworthiness and honesty to stand firm. This quietness is definitely not a detached acquiescence, yet a shrewd choice in view of shrewdness. Marcus Aurelius said, "You hold control over your viewpoints, not over external occasions. Comprehend this, and you will serious areas of strength for. Be frequently. Have we seen immediately expressed words exacerbate the situation? How should quiet safeguard you from the bolts of bogus complaints? By declining to remark the instructor. Let the local area's underlying energy fade away as time continued and no new verification became exposed. Reality turned into her protection. This shows the apathetic conviction that you ought to zero in on what you have some control over, like your responses and activities, as opposed to stressing over how stories spread, which you can't stop. Epictetus once said that if somebody criticizes, you ought to always praise them. This unreasonable technique says that responding to cynicism with energy, or for this situation, quietness can stop and redirect useless associations when unfounded incriminations are created. Talking unobtrusively can extend regard and confidence in reality. To involve this in your own life, contemplate that it means quite a bit to stand by to answer to stories until the tempest passes. Recall that the most ideal way to keep your tranquility and picture is to live by the ideal you teach, not by battling each murmur in that frame of mind of circumstances. Remaining silent isn't simply a method for safeguarding yourself. It's likewise a way to show your devotion to apathetic standards. So as you manage the troubles of individual and expert connections, let unemotional quietness lead you through the turmoil of bogus tales, tracking down in it the way to a quiet, blissful, and fruitful life. Number 5. How to manage misfortune. How would you manage the absolute quiet that follows? A significant misfortune is a typical human encounter that frequently leaves a void loaded up with bitterness and disarray. Yet emotionlessness has a novel approach to managing with torment. For instance, C.S. Lewis, a well-known creator who expounded on his despondency, later losing his better half in the book. A melancholy notist says the aggravation I feel presently is the joy I had before. This is an exceptionally unemotional perspective. Stoics accept that our encounters are important for a greater normal progression of life. Furthermore, that misfortune and love will constantly go hand in hand. Seneca, a renowned emotionless rationalist, has a ton to say regarding this subject. The day we stress will be our last is really the birthday of endlessness. How should your reaction to loss change in the event that you consider it to be a shift? All things being equal of an end, what could you gain by tolerating the quietness that comes later? Misfortune giving yourself time and space to think and mend. After his demise, Lewis didn't attempt to fill the quietness with clarifications or interruptions. Rather, he utilized it to profoundly investigate his considerations and sentiments, showing the unemotional conviction that difficulties can be utilized for self-awareness. His excursion through anguish showed how keeping a quiet brain can assist somebody with managing profound, close-to-home torment and transform it into a profound comprehension of life's delicacy and excellence. Quiet after a misfortune isn't a method for stowing away or deny what happened. It's a method for giving yourself an opportunity to loosen up. Think furthermore, continue on, find significance, past the agony you're feeling right now. This implies allowing your sentiments to run their course without causing a constrained end. Ponder how you've managed misfortunes in the past. What might the apathetic act of intelligent quiet do for you in future seasons of despondency? How should this technique change your own recuperating, as well as additionally the mending of everyone around you? If it's not too much trouble, share your contemplations and encounters with misfortune, as well as how indifferent practices might have impacted your way. What examples have you realized, and how has quiet assisted you with getting better? We should discuss it and get better in the remarks. Under perhaps of the hardest things in life is managing demise. It's difficult to manage distress and bitterness when you lose something significant in your life, like a friend or family member, a task, or a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Emotionlessness, an old hypothesis, began by Zeno of Citium in Athens, offers us immortal guidance on the most proficient method to manage these difficult situations. Taking an emotionless view can assist us with being solid and settled. In any event, when we've lost something very significant, perceive and acknowledge how you feel. It's vital to comprehend and acknowledge the sentiments that accompany losing somebody. Aloofness instructs us that sentiments are typical responses to things that occur in life. Step you can take. Let yourself cry and feel the aggravation without passing judgment on yourself. Writing in a diary or conversing with a companion you trust can assist you with managing these sentiments. Focus on what you can change as per the emotionless hypothesis. We ought to relinquish things we can't change and zero in on the things we can move toward. Sort out what you can change about the circumstance, like how you bargain with the misfortune, and let go of what you can't, reevaluate the misfortune as an opportunity to get better. As made sense of Stoics, imagine that each issue can be utilized as the opportunity to develop and get better. Step. You can ponder what you can realize from this. What could this misfortune at any point instruct you that will improve you more? Intelligent or really mindful work on being appreciative. Being grateful can assist you with halting reasoning about what you've lost and begin zeroing in on what you actually have. Step record consistently a rundown of things. You are grateful for this exercise can assist you with seeing things in another manner and cause you to feel quiet. Look for help, and gathering apathy stresses that it is so essential to have a gathering and assist each other through difficult situations, with venturing to converse with family companions or care groups. Discussing your concerns with others can help you feel improved and less alone. It's never simple to manage misfortune, yet the unemotional thoughts can assist us with being solid and versatile. While we're going through the agony of misfortune, it can assist with perceiving our sentiments, center around our best control, change our perspective, be thankful and request. Assist these methods with canning, help us mend and develop, assuming that we decide to utilize them. Number 6. Exploring obliviousness with indifferent beauty. 6. Exploring obliviousness with unemotional effortlessness. Have you at any point met somebody whose activities show they don't see, yet whose conviction is basically areas of strength, for as on the off chance that they were a specialist? Despite the fact that this circumstance is disturbing, it's a great chance to work on being patient. Beauty Galileo, the renowned researcher who pushed heliocentrism during a period of solid geocentric convictions, is an extraordinary illustration of how to manage obliviousness, despite the fact that he confronted wild resistance and was even put detained at home. Galileo kept his honor and commitment to reality, frequently deciding to remain quiet, despite fraudulent incriminations, and obliviousness. Emotionlessness shows us that we can handle how we answer, not what others do. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman sovereign and indifferent rationalist, said, "You have control over your brain, not over external occasions. Understanding this will give you strength. Ponder." Utilizing this perspective, the following opportunity you go over somebody who is wrong. Contemplations, how should changing, how you answer, assuming you realized you had some control over it. Galileo's quietness was definitely not an indication of shortcoming. It was major areas of strength for Anne, of his genuineness and faith in what he had found. He realized that reality doesn't have to be upheld by words, however can tolerate firming on its own benefits over the long run. This approach is like the emotionless thought of zeroing in on one's own decisions and tolerating that others' convictions are unchangeable. As far as one might be concerned, being thoughtful implies knowing the constraints of your power and starting your ruckuses cautiously. It implies showing restraint, paint, and seeing. In any event, when things are baffling, this training not just leads to a serene and blissful life, yet it likewise assists you see things with a greater picture that spotlights on long-haul regard and accomplishment rather than transient justification. Contemplate how quietness can be a smooth response to idiocy in your own life. How should this technique work on your connections and your own well-being? Let Galileo's story spur you to rehearse emotionless quietness, transforming conceivably blissful circumstances into possibilities. Number 7. How to manage bits of gossip. For internal harmony and self-awareness. Number 7. How to manage tales. There probably been ordinarily in your life when you were the subject of a story, hearing murmurs getting stronger as they circumvented. It's a typical human response, yet keeping calm can change the circumstance. Ponder the tale of a local area pioneer whose devotion to safeguarding the climate prompted misleading reports about her own benefit. All things considered of tending to each talk, she remained fixed on her work, recalling Marcus Aurelius' words. The best retribution is to be not normal for him who hurt you. This pioneer's choice to stay quiet and proceed with her backing. Let her activities talk stronger than any gossip. Her conduct shows a significant apathetic idea. Not external occasions irritate us, but rather the way that we respond to them. How might your life be unique, assuming you overlooked bits of hearsay with quiet? What strength might you at any point gain by choosing not to make sense of, yet to continue onward on your way? Assuming somebody tears down you and it's actual epic, Titus advises us to fix ourselves on the off chance that it's clearly false. This wise chief not just kept the harmony, yet additionally advised her kin to look past the lies by advising them to giggle at them. Individuals who didn't accept in her gradually lost confidence, yet her quiet disposition and unfaltering responsibility demonstrated the way that unemotional quietness can help you keep your picture and sense of pride. This story demonstrates the way that aloofness can be utilized in current life by demonstrating the way that our responses to misleading data can either take care of the fire or put it out. It likewise shows that quiet is certainly not an uninvolved decision, however a functioning and strong method for letting our lives and results show what sort of individual we are. Ponder this approach. The following time you hear reports, how could rehearsing unemotional quietness assist you with remaining composed and centered? How should it change how others see you over time? I believe you should impart your thoughts and encounters to managing bits of gossip in the remarks segment beneath. What have you gained from these occasions, and how has quiet assisted you with overcoming them? Your thoughts could assist somebody with tracking down their direction. Bits of hearsay can spread quick and hurt your picture, cause a ton of stress, and make things seriously befuddling. It means a lot to think of good methods for managing tattle in a world where data spreads rapidly. There is immortal information in emotionless. Believe that lets us know how to remain even-headed, gathered, and intelligent. When we face issues, hold your feelings within proper limits. It means quite a bit to keep your sentiments in check when you hear stories. When you respond rapidly or firmly, it can make things more awful and give the narratives more weight. Rather attempt to keep your feelings under control and take a gander at the issue immediately before you answer. Take a couple full breaths and let yourself know that others' viewpoints don't characterize your value. Do things that quiet you down, like a mindfulness or reflection, to remain even-tempered. Get clear and get current. Realities, considerations, and subtleties that aren't clear. Frequently, feed reports. Don't take them at face esteem, rather investigate the realities. Track down dependable sources and assemble right information to figure out what the story is truly about. Converse with dependable individuals who can give you more data prior to coming to a choice. Get clarification on some pressing issues and search for verification. This strategy assists you with responding in light of realities rather than surmises. Naturally suspect things through before you act. How you respond to a story can hugely affect how genuine it is. The point at which you act without figuring, you could misjudge something and spread the story considerably more. Rather respond cautiously and with an arrangement. Take a gander at the circumstance and contemplate what could occur in the event that you do something else. Answer the gossip in a cool and exact way on the off chance that you want to. Now and again, the best thing to do is to be calm or say something. Gradually focus on your activities and character. The most ideal way to retaliate against counterfeit reports is to show that you are a decent individual over the long haul. Stories can be settled by continuously tell the truth. Furthermore, showing what sort of individual you are, continue to follow your convictions and thoughts in all that you truly do. Take acts that are great for yourself and show who you truly are. The more you act the same way over the long run, the more outlandish it is that misleading stories are valid practice, not thinking often about what others think. Aloofness advises you to relinquish things you can't change and center around the things you can. The subsequent gathering incorporates others' considerations. Furthermore, tales about you recall that you can't change what others think or say. Focus on what you do and your thought process. Acknowledge yourself and have confidence in your goals, regardless of what others say. Emotionless thoughts like controlling your feelings, finding reality, answering shrewdly, being consistent and not really tending to think about others' thought process can assist you with managing bits of hearsay in a decent and consistent manner. By utilizing these tips, you can handle the issues that accounts cause with balance and strength. Safeguarding you. Number 8. When defied with foul play, honor and genuine serenity. Number 8. When gone up against with unfairness, apathetic way of thinking instructs us to manage life's concerns with decency and internal strength. This is particularly significant when we face shamefulness. As the shrewd Epicurean said, bear and avoid this. Proverb advises us to go through difficult situations quietly and excuse others for their botches. Nelson Mandela battled against bigotry in South Africa in a way that made this hypothesis exceptionally clear. Mandela's significant time frame in prison might have made him furious, yet he emerged as an ally of harmony and solidarity, showing a profound, indifferent versatility. Mandela didn't simply remain there and allow treachery to happen. He picked to zero in on mending and solidarity as opposed to getting even. This decision shows a key emotionless rule. Our greatest power lies in our capacity to pick how to respond to outside occasions. How should our own lives change in the event that we took cues from Mandela? With regards to the out-of-line things that happen to us, might we at any point decide to show understanding and benevolence in any event when it appears to be unimaginable by keeping silent when out-of-line things happen? Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Reflections that the best method for getting back at somebody who has harmed you isn't to be like them by deciding not to get into a battle, and in all things being equal, fostering a feeling of mending and groundbreaking. Mandela, significantly, had an impact on the way an entirety country pondered equity and harmony. His life shows us that quietness isn't an indication of accommodation. Rather, it tends to be a useful asset for change and an indication of individual uprightness. This unemotional perspective doesn't mean latently tolerating treachery. Rather, it includes a vital and principled quietness that sets us up for productive activity. It's tied in with keeping your inward harmony and utilizing quiet to motivate smart arrangements that address bad behavior and cultivate an aggregate move towards a superior future. As we face both little and enormous, shameful acts, let us recall Mandela's quiet strength. His inheritance educates us that occasionally the most significant reaction is developed peacefully, permitting us to fabricate an establishment for significant change and a more joyful, more effective life. Embracing this can change both individual difficulty and mutual hardship, driving us to a more quiet presence. Everybody needs to manage unjustifiable circumstances, sooner or later in their lives, as an indifferent. It's essential to deal with these situations with tranquility and information. The thoughts of unemotional masterminds like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epicus can assist you with understanding how to manage unjustifiable circumstances, zeroing in on what we have some control over, keeping even-headed inside, and responding coherently are a portion of the things they stress. Keep your tranquility inside center around your inward state. Marcus Aurelius says that regardless of what is happening around you, ought to keep your psyche cool and gathered close to home. Guideline to hold your feelings within proper limits. Do things like profound breathing, staying alert, contemplation. Acknowledge what you can't change. Realize that you can change how you respond to others' demonstrations. Answer legitimately. Think before you act. All things considered of moving without thinking. Pause and contemplate what the best thing to do is. Attempt to comprehend. Attempt to sort out why the out-of-line thing happened. This can help make things more clear and perhaps show a method for tackling the issue. Try not to get back at individuals. Getting back at individuals with outrage or vengeance just exacerbates the situation. Attempt to answer in a sensible and quiet manner. Investigate your qualities. Generally stick to your standards, regardless of what let your ways of behaving be founded on your center. Convictions and standards. Moral uprightness ensure that your response is in accordance with your ethics and maintains your honor. Set a genuine model. Tell others the best way to manage shamefulness with deference and distinction by the manner in which you act. Search for helpful answers. Critical thinking disposition as opposed to harping on the issue. Go into the circumstance with the disposition of tracking down ways of addressing it. Correspondence. Converse with individuals engaged with a transparent method for attempting to track down a fair response. Advocate for change. At whatever point you can attempt to cause changes to the framework that, to get to the lower part of the uncalled for, assess, develop, and learn. Pause and contemplate what happened. Think about what occurred and what you can gain from it. Individual development. View at the experience as an opportunity to develop personally and cause yourself more grounded future status to get the abilities and data you really want to deal with comparable situations better. Later on, keeping composed is significant. Respond coherently. Stay consistent with your optimal search for accommodating arrangements and learn from the experience when you are confronted with bad form. On the off chance that you follow these unemotional standards, you can manage out-of-line circumstances with thoughtfulness and trustworthiness, making them into opportunities to develop and improve things. Number 9. How to deal with put-downs with emotionless insight. Handle affronts with indifferent insight. Epicus, an emotionless thinker, once said, assuming somebody prevails with regards to inciting you, understand that your brain is complicit in the incitement. This proverb ought to awaken us each time somebody affronts us, and it likewise gives us a profound method for managing affronts. Hush up. This knowledge tells us that we can pick how to respond by picking quietness and understanding rather than struggle. Mahatma Gandhi for model confronted abuses and opposition in his battle for Indian opportunity. However, he didn't reply with outrage or affront. Rather, he decided to be quiet and comprehend. Gandhi put stock in ahimsa or pacifism, which is like the emotionless lifestyle harmony. Gandhi's response to verbal and actual assaults was to keep calm. This frequently made his foes less risky and won help for his goal among the public. How should taking a comparable position at the point when you are offended change the elements of your collaborations with others? What might you at some point gain by keeping your cool, as opposed to answering with words when somebody assaults you? Give yourself space to act with motivation rather than imprudence. This harsh practice keeps you quiet, as well as makes you seem to be a pioneer who is above every other person. Little conflicts that repeated Marcus Aurelius. How much more awful are the after effects of outrage and sadness than the things that caused us to feel those ways? Consider this. You manage the issues that surface consistently. Ponder what this harsh quiet could do for your life. Might it at some point be the way in to a superior, more fruitful life? How should your activities influence how others manage issues, as we've taken a gander at the 9 essential minutes to embrace and quietness from managing converse with confronting misfortune? Emotionless guidance has shown us an approach to harmony and understanding. Marcus Aurelius once said, Don't sit around quarreling over what a decent man ought to be one in the soul of his words. Let us practice the profound strength that can be tracked down peacefully by choosing when to talk and when to listen. This will assist us with living a quiet, cheerful, and kind life. Feel free to involve these emotionless standards in your ordinary discussions, and perceive how the force of smart quietness can make your life better in the event that you track down this discussion profound and helpful. If it's not too much trouble, click the like button, leave a note with your viewpoints, and remember to impart these profound philosophical plans to everybody you know, whether you're new by into our feed, to get all the more profound illustrations in aloofness that will assist you with developing. See you in the following examples.